Hey, what's up? It's Jasmine Thomas, and this is my story.
What's your story?
Gotcha. So tell the people, I'm like, where you from?
I'm from Uptown.
I'm like, what part?
Listen, it's kind of hard to say what part of Uptown because I literally lived all over Uptown growing up. But if I gotta narrow it down, I'm like from the Third Walk, Broadmoor area.
Gotcha. So for yourself growing up, how was it for you?
I mean, how is it for me in what way?
Like growing up, like just the culture, just coming outside, I'm like, what do you actually, I'm like, remember about your childhood?
I feel like growing up in New Orleans, like in my age bracket, it just was its own thing. Like it wasn't like you were trying to figure it out if it was one way or another. Like it was just your way of life. You know, I lived in a neighborhood where all of my neighbors were like extensions of my mom. You know, so I played with the same friends in like the same little block. We hung out, we were best friends. We did what kids do, played outside.
Gotcha. So, and so what, I'm like, high school, like, did you go to, because you know everybody wants to know
I
that.
just told you I'm all over. I went to McMain. I went to Fauché. I graduated from Sarah T. Reed. I even went to Country Day for a little while. Yeah.
That was everywhere for
It
real.
was everywhere. It was everywhere.
So like going to all those like different high school and like different wards as well. Like,
Right.
was it any type of like culture shock?
Country Day. Country Day was definitely a culture shock, but I like it though. You know, I like that I was the friend that got to experience different parts of New Orleans, different aspects of it, and it just helped me as I grew older. I think that's what kind of shaped the platform that helped me when I was helping other people. I was able to relate to different spaces. I was able to walk them through rooms that they hadn't been through because I had already entered them.
Gotcha. So graduating, like, did you go to college?
I did, but then I kind of dropped out. I did. I went to Tulane. I went to Suno for a little while, but ultimately I chose wellness. So I became like obsessed with getting all of my certifications through the holistic background. So I have massage therapy, yoga, life coaching, meditation coaching. Yeah, you name it in the wellness world, that's what all my experience is, and management, of course.
So for the people who's watching this, who's not really ever that I'm like familiar with the holistic, the wellness, everything. Like, how important it is, like, for people like you to actually be doing those things, and also telling people how important it is for them to actually be using certain I'm like holistic products and different things like that, because during the pandemic a lot of people started getting on it a little bit more because they was like afraid of their health, but like they probably should have been doing it.
Right. I think that's the part that made me drop out of school. When I was like a little kid, I had to be like 12, somewhere around there, and my dad took me to Belladonna Day Spa, and I had my first experience there. And by me being an athlete and growing up and playing sports, that helped me tap into my own body and how I felt. And so then I started on this journey of trying to help other people, right? I want to practice on all my friends or whoever would let me, right? I would start trying to give them information. And then along the way, I realized like how challenging it was for me to get people I knew to participate. And so when I really started working in the industry, I realized like most of my clientele didn't look like me at all, right? And so then it kind of was like, how can I get them to see this as important? Because I started to realize that the majority of the people I was servicing had way better lives. They were way more successful. And the common denominator was their wellness. They believed in themselves. They saw themselves as valuable. And so that became a thing that I started to push. And then I think that's the main thing people got to take from it. It's like, it's not just something to do. It's a way of life. It literally makes up the way you see life, the way you view life, and how you execute your life.
Gotcha. So we're about to jump into your story after wellness. Like, how did you meet your husband, and how did you fall in love with him?
I met Oliver at the City of Love Church. He was a part of a play, and I was one of the creative directors in the play, a part of the play. I do a lot of like behind the scenes production work, and so at first it was just kind of like a conversation. We had a candid conversation, but it was something about him. He had like a light to me, And I'm big on light, like people who have like this aura about them that is magnetic. And so then I talked to him again. And then eventually we started talking beyond that, and it kind of just grew from there. I don't want to give you all my business like that.
Because he's actually watching too. He's actually behind us.
When we first started talking, like I said, it really wasn't about really, to me, trying to be together. Like, it was just something about him that literally was the light. And I started wanting to have more conversations with him. And when we did kind of realize, okay, this could be something more, he was more like, you might be like a little too young for me. And I told him, I don't know if you remember this, but I told him, well, I am too young for you if you can't learn anything from me. If you feel like there's nothing you could gain from knowing me, then you're right. And I think that's what, like...
intrigues his mind. I was like, oh, okay.
So, yeah. So we kind of became inseparable after that.
Gotcha. So, how have, how has, your journey been, being married to him and just, him jumping back back into politics, and also, if you actually said a lot of things on the phone with me, he was telling me like, man, I wanna get my point across too as well.
I honestly, like, if you're talking to me, we can't have those types of conversations, but I like to stay in my space and in my lane. And I feel like the reason why, being a part of this works, I guess, is because I watched the journey. Like, when I met, Oliver, it really wasn't about politics. He wasn't in that frame of mind. He wasn't in that space. When people would ask, he would be like, no, right? So much to where I would always be like, you really think God is done with you? Because the impact was just overwhelming. And initially, he wouldn't really talk to me about it. He wouldn't mention many details. He would just kind of be like, yeah, no, that was then. But when you can see the impact that somebody has on someone's life and how that transcends generation after generation, you start taking heed to that. You pay attention to that. And I think my wellness background and how I see life, I think, was a part of helping him embrace that. Because that's not an easy journey to have to walk through publicly. People, criticize you, judge you, whatever, right? But if you have people around you who can say, hey, God's not done with you. Like, look what's happening. It became just a natural progression. And I think by me having the background in the space that I like to operate in, we literally help people every day. So it's not like it was something new. It wasn't like I'm stepping into something outside of myself. Talking to women, helping them see value in themselves, helping them grow, encouraging them. It's almost like second nature at this point. So this part where we came now, it didn't happen like this intentional space. So it's gonna be like this. We're gonna be strategic. We're gonna do this. It just was a way of life, and God opened up the doors. Had you decided 10 years ago when we met that this was gonna be the space, I would have went the other direction. I would have went the other direction for sure. Because it's just you're opening yourself to the criticism, the scrutiny, and people begin to miss the value, right? They start to try to judge you and size you up more of a person than the actual work and good that you're trying to do.
Right. And but the way you came here, I automatically looked like she definitely has the swag for the first lady. Like, she gave me Michelle Obama walking here. So like, I want to ask before the people want to know, like, how would you embrace your role as the first lady?
Embrace it?
Yeah, like, because like, you can either, play the background, or, you could be going your way, still doing, with your nonprofits and, with your wellness, like, people might want to know, like, what would be the role of his wife?
That.
Gotcha.
Wellness. I feel like the space, like, that I'm already in, the calling that's already on my life, the love that I have for my city, the commitment that I pour into my city, that's my everyday life. So for me specifically, I would like to see more of the wellness implemented into the minds of the people in New Orleans. I feel like our hearts are really good here. We're really good people. Like, you're going to smile, you're going to speak, you're going to help somebody, you get them a shirt off your back, but you don't believe in yourself. You won't take that step to add value to your life or your community or the people around you, or and really embrace that journey. And so I feel like I could help a lot with that. I could help the people in New Orleans really like see themselves for the person that God designed them to be and help them bring out the best in themselves.
Gotcha. So why should people vote for your husband?
Honestly, I don't feel like you have another choice. There's a couple of reasons though, if I break it down in totality. When I look at how I grew up in New Orleans, meaning I have a dad that was already in the political spectrum, right? I grew up understanding like things that were happening in my community. I had a dad that volunteered with children all the time, who mentored, who was having us campaign, who had us standing up and understanding, voting, right? I've never missed the election, like things like that. So when I look at that and I look at now, it's two totally different cultures. Like our group, and when I say our, I'm a millennial. So I feel like a lot of us are just really worrying about how we gonna get ahead. Like we're trying to find a capital, we're trying to get our businesses developed, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're just trying with our heads down to keep it going. You're not looking at the whole community and trying to help them, right? And that's a mindset of the people right now. So I feel like he's really like the last of a dying breed. Like you don't have a Martin Luther King, a Malcolm X type mindset in the millennial brackets. Like, can you name 5? Then you know what I mean? That's really going after the community and above themselves. I don't really see that, but I see it in him, right? A person who wakes up tirelessly every single day, checking off as many people as possible to help. I don't really see too many people doing that. A person whose priority is that job, not working multiple different jobs, having different things going on, but literally a council person and focusing on being a council person, right? Person who's going to answer the call for anybody. Not worrying about gatekeeping. If it's just who you connected to and who you know. It's like I'm gonna help you where I can. What's the problem? What's the issue? And then when you think about beyond those things, you gotta look at what God has called people to do and the level of integrity he has, the level of know-how and knowledge that he has, the way that he knows how to see something and really break it down, digest it, make it palatable, and then actually execute and get results. I don't see a lot of that either, right? And so it's easy to get blinded by media because in 2025, it's everywhere. I can put whatever narrative I want and people will run with it. But if you get past all of the foolishness and you really look at the facts, you'll be able to say the same things I see.
Gotcha. And if you did well, explaining that just now.
Because it's true, like it just is what it is at this point.
Gotcha.
I wouldn't sign up for this directly. I like, me, I like doing yoga, meditating, you know what I'm saying? I'm chill for the main perspective of just how I like to operate in my space. I'm not looking for nothing much beyond it. But when you can really see that, like, there's a chance that New Orleans could get the help that it needs, if you care about your community, you're going to help.
Gotcha. So, but he just, told the world that he's running. But, like, just these past months and weeks, like, what do you enjoy about this process? And what do you, and, like, what you don't like about this process of, like, this politician run?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think I'm enjoying having the opportunity to have conversations with my children about the level of community that they can be a part of. They're not too young to make an impact. When you have friends in school, you're in the 3rd grade, say, I saw you on a billboard, and, what does that mean? And they get to talk and say, well, this is what's going on with my family. And then they get to be a part of the projects at their schools, right? Or my daughter, who's in high school, having people come up to her and ask her questions. I get to do what my dad did with me and, like, actually help them shape the narrative of being really productive in the community that they're a part of. Because we not only, like, live in New Orleans now, we're literally born, bred, and, like, breathe New Orleans, So to be able to pass that on to my children, I think is the best part.
Gotcha. And last but not least, tell the world, what can he find you at on social media and everywhere else?
I'm really just kind of on Instagram, but Higher Jaaz, HIGHERJAAZ.
And y'all make sure y'all check out the holistic wellness, all that.
Yes.
And also,
and
I'm gonna vote
October 11th.
If you ain't on Nolazine, you ain't on